Ooh, Susu, everybody's got Labubu. According to reports now, this one's coming to us from Joe Blow, one of my favorite sites. Paddington director Paul King, the guy who also directed the wonderful version of Wonka that was out recently with Timothée Chalamet. So Paddington and Wonka director Paul King has signed on to do a Labubu movie. That's right. Labubu is coming to movie screens near you. Now, of course, we heard recently that Sony had picked up the rights to Labubu, and man, they move fast because they locked down Paul King to come in and direct it. And look, I'll get this part out of the way here. Man, if you're going to do a Labubu movie, which I'm not quite sure why, but if you're going to do it, who better to come in and anthropomorphize these things than the guy who directed the Paddington films? By the way, I say this without any irony and with no hyperbole and with absolutely no sarcasm. The Paddington movies are one of the greatest trilogies ever made. I mean, just listen. Now, while he didn't direct the third one, he was involved with the third one, but he stepped away to do Wonka. But he did direct the first two. Look at the scores of the first couple of Paddington movies. Well, first of all, look at all three of them. The first Paddington was unbelievable, 96%. Paddington 2, which if you listen to Nick Cage in The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, it is the greatest sequel of all time. Paddington 2 with a 99% critic score. And even Paddington 3, which was my least favorite of the three, but I still thought it was absolutely delightful and charming.
Yeah.
93%. Again, Paul King didn't direct the third one. He was a producer on it, but he directed the first couple. And of course, Wonka was great. I mean, if you're going to go out and try to do a Labubu movie, why not get the guy who took a movie about a teddy bear? I know Paddington's not a teddy, you know what I'm saying, but to literally take this bear and make one of the greatest movie trilogies of all time out of it, that's the guy you go and get. Now look, there is no denying how popular Labubus have been in our culture. My wife has a number of Labubus. Not only does she have a number of Labubus, she went out and bought individual outfits for those Labubus, including, because you guys know my wife's like a LA Dodgers season ticket holder. She's a huge Dodger fan. Several LA Dodger outfits specifically for her Labubus. Now, she doesn't have like 20 of them like a bunch of people do, but there's a lot of people that do, man. There's a lot of people that walk around, dude, with a lot of Labu hanging off their asses. I mean, even my Anne's guy friends, we have this trio of guy friends who have all grown up with Anne. They've been friends since child school. They're part of the family, including our friends like Ryan and Tommy and Kevin, and even Kevin's got Labubus. They even did a South Park episode recently on Labubus where they were part of a demonic ritual, something that Satan was using to bring down Donald Trump. I can't remember what it was, or to elevate, whichever it was. But even South Park was doing Labubus. But so I get it, Rob, I do. But here's the question that I have. I don't hear or see nearly as many Labubus or talk about Labubus or whatever today than I even did just 2 months ago.
100%.
And I remember when we talked about Sony, that they had picked up the rights to Labubu, I had said, listen, these fad things come in and out so quick. And even if they do decide to make a movie, which now obviously they have, the movie itself will probably be 2 years away once you get into pre-production, production, post-production, then release it in theaters. 1.5 years, 2 years away. And I'm not trying to sound like a hater. I'm honestly asking the question. Is anybody going to still care about Labubus by the time these movies come out? Somebody in the live chat is just asking a really interesting question. Funny Gaming is saying, what's the target audience? You might be surprised how wide the target audience is. Because there are business executives who get Labubus, and they're like, there are athletes, professional athletes who've been seen have Labubus hanging in their locker rooms. But again, my question is, and has been since the Sony announcement, is it still going to be something people care about by the time the movie comes out? I don't know. So just to sum up here, Rob, I get it. Labubu's a huge craze. You got the perfect guy to direct it. I mean, he's the one. There's a lot of great directors they could have got, a lot of directors who could have done a fine job. Paul King is the guy to do this particular project. I just don't know if people are still going to care about it by the time it actually gets made. Anyway, guys, we want to take a second to thank a sponsor of this episode, PrizePicks. Honestly, this is the best time of year for sports. We've got hockey, basketball's heating up, football pushing towards the playoffs, and big games happening every single night. And while we can sit around and argue about which team's going to win, there's one place where it just feels good to be right, and that's PrizePicks. What I love most about PrizePicks is just how simple it is. You just pick more or less on at least 2 player projections, build your lineup, and that's it. No drafts, no season-long commitments, just jump in whenever you want. And I have been having a blast making lineups while watching games, and it honestly makes every matchup way more fun to follow. One of the coolest things about it is that they've just added early payouts. If your lineup gets off to a hot start, you may have the option to cash out before the game even finishes. And I also love how flexible it is. Whether you're going for safer, flex play, or bigger power plays, PrizePicks makes everything super clear with their payout multipliers. So here's what you do. Download the PrizePicks app today and use the code Campea to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code Campea to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks. It's good to be right. Hey, Rob, you hear about this. Paul King's going to direct a Labubu movie. What do you think about it?
Okay, I got to tell you, I don't know if you've ever seen this dude on the internet, but he does videos. He works at a high-end watch place in Buckhead, in Atlanta, in Georgia, and people bring their Rolexes to sell back to him. And there's one customer he had that walks in one day with a belt full of Labubus. And he's talking about how he's making all this money selling Labubus, and he brings in like 2 Rolexes or a stack of Rolexes to buy more Labubus. Even that guy came back in, there's 2 videos, came back in with no more Labubus. And the guy behind the counter that stars in these videos goes, "Hey man, where are your Labubus?" He's like, "Oh yeah, it's over. You know, I'm doing something else with my money now." So even Mr. Labubu that was selling his Rolexes to buy more Labubus is out of Labubus. And that's when I realized that, I mean, this is just one of these weird Instagram reel things that I happen to like. I don't even wear a watch. But the once that guy said Labubus were over, I'm like, well, that craze came and went really fast. So I would say to the people at Sony, it's over, man. It's over. Your Labubu craze is over. I learned this from the internet. It's gone. It's over. It's finished.
What do you think about the announcement, though? Let's focus on the highlight here. What do you think about Paul King being attached to direct it?
Great move. But he's got better things to do. Like, if you're going to get him to be into in a project, give him, I mean, the Paddington movies showed a unique, and same with Wonka. This guy needs to be making, just give him all the keys to the kingdom, because his combination of whimsy and emotion is very, very rare. And like, I would never have thought, like you, that the Paddington movies would be as good as they are. And I loved Wonka. You know, I mean, Timothée Chalamet killed it in that role.
He really did. He really did.
I wouldn't say, I mean, it reminded me of Greatest Showman, you know, watching Wonka. Those movies are just, his films are delightful. And why give him I mean, Paddington's a beloved property. Wonka's a beloved property. Why give him some gimmick movie to do? And a gimmick that's already over, unless it is Labubu, the whole bloody affair. I would watch that. Give me that.
Recreate Kill Bill with stop motion animation Labubus, then you might have my attention.
I mean, who doesn't love that? The way Paddington is portrayed, even the movements of that bear. I mean, you know, it's great. And I don't think this movie's going to happen.
You know, that was going to be my next question was, you know, we both seem to kind of figure and feel like this is a trend that, as powerful and as quickly as it came on, is equally kind of dying off at a pretty quick rate.
Yeah.
Do we think it's actually going to happen? I think they will. Here's what I think Sony, right or wrong, this is what I think their mindset's going to be. The Labubu craze will be over by the time this movie's ready. But people who were really into it will still be interested in the movie because, oh yeah, I collected those things. And if they're right, and I don't know if they are, but if they're right, and even though the trend is over, the people who were into it will be into the movie, that's a lot of people.
Yeah.
So I would probably pull the plug on it, but I think it's probably still going to happen. Do you think it's actually still going to happen?
I just don't see it happening because you're talking about $100 million movie with the amount of visual effects. But you know what? I mean, maybe it's already paid for. Maybe it's one of those things that the people behind Labubu have already dropped the green and they have to irrevocably go make this movie. Maybe that's the case. And I hope our director gets paid. And you know what though? I will say this. If the movie does get made, despite the Labubu craze being here or there, I'll bet the movie's good. Like,
well,
I'll
Paul
bet he'll
King's
deliver.
directing it.
Yeah, he's going to deliver a film that exists. Take the Labubu craze out of it. I bet he makes a movie that's heartfelt, and we're going to all be going, I never would have thought, John, that a Labubu movie would provide the experiential event I've been looking for in 2027. But there we are.
Dude, I still remember it back when the first Paddington movie was coming out. Because that's what you just said is the exact experience I had with Paddington. So I had the press screen. This is back when I still wasted my time and went to press screenings. But I was going and I'm like, and Anne couldn't go. And I'm like, I don't really want to go see Paddington. Cause at that point I didn't think the trailers looked very good. And Schnepp and I were having lunch. And I remember I said, listen, I got to go to this thing tonight. I can't go. I don't really want to go. I definitely don't want to go myself. You want to go? He goes, son, I don't want to see Paddington. I'm like, I know. He goes, whatever, I'll go. So Schnepp and I go to watch Paddington. And we went in. It's like, how long do you think this movie's going to be? We're going to go somewhere and grab something to eat afterwards. And then we came out of that movie. Paddington. Like we were like, both Schnepp and I were both like, oh my God, how good was that? And so it's the same experience I had with the first Paddington. It's the same experience you're describing that I had with Lego. Cause I'm like, who the hell makes a movie out of plastic building blocks? This isn't going to be any good. And it was amazing.
Boy, Lee does.
Yeah. Yeah. And he did well. But I mean, I think you're absolutely right. When you get Paul King attached, that's what can happen with Labubu. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? They've just announced a Labubu movie being directed by Wonka and Paddington 1 and 2 director Paul King. That's the part that interests me. Do you think anybody's going to care? Do you think they're actually going to make it? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Make sure you like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget, we have a daily podcast called the John Campea Show podcast, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcasting app of choice. Go and subscribe to it today so it'll be there when you need it.